Are we live? Are we live? Are we live?
Always, mate. We're always live, but it's always worth checking. Let's have a little look.
Yeah.
Let's just jump on to the old Book of Face. Wow, that light beaming in.
Yeah, we're live, mate. We are live.
Wicked. Okay. Hey, everyone. Yeah, Andy and Dave from EverTrek HQ. A little bit of a different setup this week. We wish we could do it like we did last week with Brecon Mountain Rescue, which was fantastic. But yeah, the logistics to make it happen were quite interesting. Yeah, so we're kind of back to doing it like we've done since March, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have joined us, do let us know. Do comment just to let us know who's on. Hey Paul, hey Lee, give us a little thumbs up or just drop in, say a little hey y'all if you're here. Hey Mick, hey Troops, and Mikiko as well. Great to see some normal names on here as always. Hey Debbie, hey Sean, loads of people joining now, which is awesome. Jerome, as always, Jerome. I know this must go in your diary every week, mate, because you're always
yeah.
As there's a few of you. So yeah, fair dues and well done. Today, Dave, what are your favourite things to talk about, mate?
Yeah. So yeah, first of all, yeah, like you said, I'm back to the the normal the budget filming. No longer Good Morning Britain or Good Morning EverTrek, but yeah, no. So yeah, today, well, over the last sort of couple of weeks, we noticed that the weather's changing. It's getting colder. It's getting wetter. But it's also that time of year when people are sort of kicking it into high gear with their training, ready for next year's expeditions and stuff like that. People like yourself as well, you'll look outside, see hail lashing against the window and assume it's perfect trekking weather. So we wanted to talk a little bit about how to stay warm, how to keep the core temperature up, how to stay healthy in the mountains. We're going to talk a little bit of specifics about certain kit that we've used. We're also going to talk about layering and things like that. Yeah, all the good stuff, mate. All the good stuff. Love a kit chat. Love a kit chat.
I know.
Time to chat a complete load of kit.
Now I know we've touched on equipment loads over the last sort of 7 or 8 months, but we felt it has gone a little bit chilly the last week over in the UK. I know we've got people joining us from all over the world. I think we've even got Dower. Namaste, Dower. Hope all is well, mate. I know we got a few people from was Leah. She's always on here from Australia, and a few of our good friends over from the US. But anyway, let's get into it, Dave. Yeah, where should we start then? Let's start from the top. Should we go big down jackets?
Yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, the one thing we always sort of preface it is, like staying healthy and warm and on the mountains or staying cool on the mountains. It never really comes down to just sort of one piece of equipment. We always say, you want to sort of prep for 4 seasons, because it might be cold, it might be dry, it might be hot, it might be wet. You'll probably experience all of those things on all of the trips that we do. So yeah, one of the big important things, and I suppose the big ticket items that we sort of see: down jacket, down sleeping bag, probably along with boots, the 3 most expensive things that are in your duffel bag when you go up to EBC or Kilimanjaro. And it's a bit of a funny one, the down jacket as well, because there's so many variants of it now. I know there's a lot of synthetic stuff coming through. I'm pretty sure if Diane is on here, she'll be like firing off lots of good recommendations for vegan friendly down jackets and things like that.
Yeah.
So whatever your your thoughts are, there's going to be something so you can sort of comfortably buy the jacket you need. We went to Kili in February, and we had a really, really cold summit day on February. Hey, namaste, Anuj is here. He's on his way to Mera Peak at the moment. Lucky guy.
He is, isn't he? He's enjoying it. He's in Kari at the moment, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. And maybe Anuj can tell us what jacket he's actually using for Mera Peak at the moment. That'd be quite handy. I know for Kilimanjaro, I use the Mountain Equipment Lightline jacket. Lightline or Lifeline?
Lightline jacket, yeah, very
Lightline jacket, yeah, really good. Reason why I really like that jacket, I first saw it, one of the EverTrekkers when was back in April was using it. It was on the Gokyo trip.
Yeah,
and yeah, it looked absolutely fantastic. And when I looked it up, it's one that you can get from usually a really good value. Most down jackets that we might be like £400 or something for a good one. The Lightline you can get from around 200, something like that. Yeah, so pretty good stuff.
It's good value. The Lightline jacket's great. I was chatting with Tom. He's been with Everest Base Camp to us with us back in April last year, and he took the Microlight Alpine jacket to Everest Base Camp last year. And although it was, it was fine. Tom's a guy, and he admits he's a very fit guy. He's got very, very low amount of body fat, so he feels the cold. Probably more than the average Joe.
Mm.
Microlight Alpine was probably a bit low for him. He needed something like the Lightline, which he's actually ordered this week. We were chatting, and he's put an order in, and he's getting that jacket because as winter's coming in. Obviously, if you've been following us for a while, we've talked about the EverTrek jackets that we're making in Nepal, and I feel like even when we're talking about down jackets, we have to, we feel like we should talk about them because they are good jackets, not technical jackets, and this is where there's a big range. You can get sort of the low end range, I'd say, somewhere that it's going to keep you warm, probably in the autumn. You're probably looking at maybe anything between sort of 50 to 100 pounds on a jacket. Then you're probably looking at that type of area. Then you're going to go up to sort of I call like all rounders. An all rounder would be the Rab Microlight Alpine, the one with the hood. I call that an all rounder because it's quite versatile. Because you can wear it in the autumn, you can wear it in the spring evenings, and you can wear it during winter. Although with a sort of mid layer underneath, like a fleece and a base layer. Then you've got your high end, I would say, like the Lightline, which is a bit bigger, 700 to 800 down fill jackets, which again, in terms of the EverTrek jacket that we've got in Nepal. And Lauren, if you're on the live, which I think she is, can you chuck the link in there if anyone wants to get the jacket? I know a lot of you on here already have got that jacket, and brilliant. They're being made as we speak. So yeah, we're really chuffed beans of how many orders we've had for that, just to help the guys over in Nepal. And I was messaging Anuj this morning because I know he's in the middle of climbing Island Peak, but the rest of the team, they're getting it sorted.
Mara.
And sorry, Mara.
He's already summited. He's already summited Island.
He's already summited Island. He's climbing Mara, and I could feel obviously the warmth from him. And the thanks as well, because it's obviously getting these jackets will help the guys. Yeah. Over the coming sort of months before spring season, which we can't wait. But yeah, so I felt I'd had to, it's important to talk about our jacket, which we would call sort of mid to high range if you're talking about bit of down the insulation. Yeah. And it's £100, so it's pretty good, pretty affordable at the moment. So with the high-end jackets, then you're then going into, whilst we're talking about Mara Peak and Island Peak, then you've got sort of 800 or more downfill, which are big jackets. You'll see them. You look like the Michelin Man. Yeah. And you've got a couple of jackets. Dave, is it called the Rab Positron jacket?
I think the it might be the Positron. Yeah. Basically it's the successor to the jacket that me and you both used for quite a long time. Yeah. Which was the Infinity Pro Endurance jacket. Yeah. Still a good jacket, still holds up now. I used that Rab in 2016 for the first time. And it's in Nepal now, but I'm sure it's still holding up really well. You used yours on Killy in February, right?
I've used it on everything. Yeah, I've still got it. Mine's about 5, almost 6 years old, and they're £300. They're expensive. But I'm gutted they don't make it because I haven't stopped talking about it since I've had it. Yeah.
But Rab do a new one. And then you get to stuff like, if any of you guys really, really want a super warm jacket, all you got to do is Google best jackets for 6,000 meter peaks and stuff like that, and you will get a huge list of jackets that are designed. They normally have a really high collar, big, huge hood, really lofty things. You will look like the Michelin Man, but they're designed for one thing, and that's to keep that warmth trapped in. The loftier the jacket and the puffier you look, generally the warmer it is, because all that space between the down just sort of traps the hot air and keeps it in. There's a make I'm quite interested in, a British make, I believe, called PhD.
Yeah, very nice.
They're really good, I think. And I know that what's his name, Ben Fogle, used a PhD summit suit when he summited Everest. So that's one make that I'm particularly interested in. I might be looking into them for something like Island on Mara or Aconcagua, that type of thing.
Yeah, do you think any EverTrekkers have used PhD? Because I know, Dave, I know it's quite new to us, but yeah, if there's anyone that has used that, yeah, do let us know how you got on with it, what your thoughts were on the jacket. We're obviously keen to learn, know and learn about that, mate.
Yeah,
because we've heard good things so far.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, we should say as well that for the most of our trips, like
Yeah.
Everest Base Camp, Kilimanjaro, Machu Picchu, and stuff like that, you're not going to need the high end of like insulation jackets. There's no need for you to go and spend like £600 on a jacket or anything like that. At the moment, I think probably the best value probably is what Andy said, the mountain equipment light line is a really good value jacket. I mean, I think I paid around £200 for mine. It's too big to wear casually, really. You look a bit ridiculous walking around Cardiff with it. But I do think that it's a great jacket. I mean, I don't know how cold it was when me and Andy went up Killy in February, but it was definitely below, I think, -10 in the wind or something, maybe even less. I mean,
with the wind chill, yeah, it was pretty. Talking about -10, and even then, it's with the wind, it doesn't matter what sort of jacket you have. Sometimes it'll still get through. So it's just about trying to keep that core temperature up is important.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a few questions coming through around the jackets, and Jerome, you've asked there about some confusion around the EverTrek down jackets suitable for extreme altitude, 7,000 meters. No, we would say no for that, Jerome. Yeah, not sure you heard that, but basically for any like base camp, Killy, perfect. Yeah, if you go in 7,000 meters, you're going to need a decent jacket, mate. Yeah, so if you're looking at sort of £300, £400, £500 more, 7,000 meters, that is extreme altitude. So yeah, especially when you like say Aconcagua, probably need something a bit thicker. If you're talking about 7,000 meters, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So we also got Sean Ratcliffe said here, he was thinking of maybe going for the Montane Featherlight jacket. What do you guys think? So I own one. I used it for EBC last April.
Yeah.
I'd say it's not as warm as maybe the RAB or the mountain equipment. So I did find myself when I needed it, I tended to pair it with like a heavy fleece and stuff like that, just for the extra stuff. I mean, that's one of the things as well. Like when we say it doesn't always come down to one piece of equipment. Always try and get your layering system right, because I tend to run quite hot, so I tend to wear like a base layer that sits quite tight against the skin, moves all the moisture off my skin, and then and basically allows it to travel outwards while storing the heat. I think that jacket's pretty good at that, but it depends how hot or cold you run. For the UK, it's probably going to be more than anything you need. If you go to EBC and it's quite cold, you may need to pair it with like a fleece or something else, just add layers to keep you warm and stuff like that. Yeah.
Nice, Dave. Nice. So yeah, okay. We talked about jackets then. I mean, I know we could talk about down jackets all day. Yeah. There's more than enough down jackets floating around the EverTrek office at the moment. But yeah, with the next thing, let's talk about sleeping bags then, Dave. I know we've done lives all around sleeping bags, but we can touch on it now.
Yeah.
What would you start with? Sorry, I'm looking for my mobile then.
So I think a 4-season sleeping bag. So you literally, it starts from one end of the, you can get a 4-season sleeping bag for about 90 quid, and you can get a 4-season sleeping bag for around 1,000. So there is a huge range. I use, and I know Andy uses as well, the RAB Ascent 700, which is like a 3 to 4 season. And I've never needed anything more for like Everest Base Camp or Kilimanjaro or anything like that. It's been really, really good. They do a 900 as well, which is referring to the fill again. So we use the 700 fill sleeping bag, which is a 3 to 4. Then you've got the 900, which is a definite 4. And what it talks about is the extreme. Now, one bit of caution I want to say when people look at the extremes, where they'll say, oh, a sleeping bag that's good for -15. That'll be the extreme. So that's designed to keep you alive in -15. Warm is sort of where the comfort zone is. So don't just look at the most, the lower end figure and think that it's going to be great, because although you're probably not going to be trying to sleep in that, just for my own like peace of mind, the 700 sits right in the middle. So yeah, I also think down sleeping bag as well is what you need. One, they compress really small, they're quite light, and then they expand. But what you can do if you don't, because the RAB is around what, and 300 350, something like that.
Yeah,
It might be cheaper. If you want to get, say, like a cheaper one, you can always combine it with like a liner, a silk liner, something like that. And then also don't overcomplicate things. Like I often think, well, if I'm cold, I'll put clothes on. So like in the tent on Killy, like if I was really cold, I just put my down jacket on and then go to bed nice and warm, and then almost always be ripping it off and throwing it away, like because I'm too hot in the night. But
well, it's kind of, you kind of get, after 4 or 5 days, it becomes your suit, doesn't it?
yeah.
So you go to sleep in it, and you wake up in it, and you're like, all right, well, I'll have a bit of a wash, and I'll just keep going.
Yeah,
and after a while, it becomes that sort of suit that you wear.
Yeah.
It's not until you get back. Sometimes, I mean, you can get a shower or two. If we talk about Everest Base Camp now, shower or two on the way down, on the way up. Sometimes depends on the weather. It's not slowly heated, but when you get that first shower in Kathmandu, there's nothing quite like the amount of dirt that comes off you.
Like just don't look down at your toes because you won't see them. It'll just be brown water. But I actually found Killy was that, like EBC it's dusty, but it's like rocky dust, so it doesn't really, or it's ice. Where on Kilimanjaro it's like that thin sort of brown dusty stuff that just sticks to everything. So remember, me and Andy were joking like that we had like a full wash, and then by the time we got out the tent, just having to put your hand on the ground and move the flat back, black again. But that dust is like pride, like I'll never clean my rucksack. That's ingrained in Killy dust now, which is infused with it.
I like it. Now there's just going through some of the comments. There's some really great just again go back to down jackets, and we're talking about that as well. Some really good recommendations. So definitely go through the comments there, because I think naturally we always talk about jackets that we use or that come recommended, but there's a lot out there, and there's some really good comments on there. Was it the Rab Electron? I think that's sort of a variation of one we've used. But yeah, sleeping bags, Dave. Sorry, I know we're talking about sleeping bags. I say the ones we use as well, sort of in Nepal, that you can hire, and the ones on Killy. Again, they're enough for your trip. So, if you want to save a few bob, you can just use those with a liner. Makes it nice.
Yeah, they're not brand new, so don't expect them to. They're not going to smell of fresh lavender when you pick them up and stuff like that. But but they're designed to keep you warm. And after the first night, your body will smell just as bad as the bag. So just make sure that like Andy said, a line is nice, because at least then you know that you are sleeping technically inside something brand new, fresh and clean. I got an interesting comment here from Jackie Bradley. Doing EBC Gokyo and Island Peak in April 2022. It's an awesome April. Nice. So that's the ultimate Island Peak trip. Always suffer with cold legs and bum. Any suggestions? Cold legs and bum. Wow. First thing I would say is lined trekking trousers are probably going to be really good for you. I know Crag Hoppers and Rab do some. Crag Hoppers are probably like the best that you can get for the price. I know Andy's had a pair, I've had a pair, and they are just fleece lined. That'll make a big difference.
Yeah.
Other things you can do as well is like merino wool, like long johns, that type of thing. That'll just like keep the heat trapped in. Again, it all comes back to that layering. So from head to toe, you want to be thinking about layering in order to keep you warm. It's one of those things that I always like. I have the opposite problem. I run too hot. But what I find happens is that I'll be trekking, say, up to Tengboche on Namche, and it'll be like boiling hot. And then by the time I get to the top and it's sort of late in the afternoon, and I start getting cold because I've been sweating loads. So having the layer in there does make a huge difference. So the base layer's got to be tight against your skin, because that way it'll draw everything out. And always have like a wind stopper jacket or a Gore-Tex jacket or something to throw on, because your core temperature will plummet as soon as you get into the Himalayan night. I guarantee that.
Yeah, 100%. Some great questions coming in as well. I know we've had a few on email, Dave. I think we're continuing the winter theme, but should we answer some of those questions as well?
Yeah, why not? Let's get on it.
I think Lauren posted them. We got one from Martin McCollum. Martin, great stuff. I recognise Martin's name this time. Martin won our recent competition, right?
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, yeah. I think I think I actually emailed him, uh, having forgot the name of the winner. Was trying to, and then he had to reply and be like, "All right, guys, yeah, sorry, I actually won." So yeah, Martin, competition winner.
No, it'd be great. Yeah, Martin asked a really good question, and I know we've kind of discussed this before on some of our lives, but if you missed it, Martin, it's around Lukla when you arrive about the weight limits, because we do talk about the weight limits. All of your bags, so your duffel bag and your day pack, 15 kgs, and looking at obviously the jackets, like our EverTrek jacket, for instance, sleeping bags, a couple of kgs. And the weight of our 80-liter EverTrek duffel bag, it's quite light actually. I'd say it's about a kilo, isn't it, Dave? I remember
I'd
because
say so. Yeah.
on the ground and we were measuring it, and it was just under a kilo, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I'm sure we have measured it, but it's one of those things I never really focus too much on
Yeah,
because like we always say, they measure your kit, not you. So one of our top tips is, if you put your sleeping bag and everything in there,
yeah,
weigh your bag till it's around 15 kilos. But
yeah,
anything heavy like a camera or batteries or anything like that, just keep in your pockets and things like that. Empty water bladders, don't carry any excess water and stuff like that. But I'd say about a kilo might be about right because they are sort of waterproof ones, so they tend to be a bit thicker. They're not just like canvas bags.
yeah. I think they're meat on, aren't they? They're
Yeah,
pretty.
exactly. I'd say about a kilo. I'll weigh one. I'll weigh one for you, and we'll get back to you. Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll go the extra mile. Yeah.
But
So,
Matt on the live, so yeah, I did notice. Hey, Martin, nice to see you on here, mate. Dave, we've got a book question from another Dave.
okay.
Dave,
So yeah, Dave Clayton. Yeah. So, what is your advice for those who have like foot spread? So I'm assuming like wide feet, pinched toes, loss of nails. He's finding it difficult to get a wide boot that's also technical enough. Interesting question. First thing I recommend is you get yourself a pair of nail clippers. So my keys, see, doesn't weigh anything, nice and thin, doesn't have a blade in it, springs open, nail clipper. That's for trekking. Yeah,
because Dave's obviously feet are everywhere. He is a yeti.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also I lost a toenail. Actually, not in trekking. It was doing the office move, wasn't it? I dropped something heavy on my foot. But yeah, so get yourself one of them to look after your feet. Looking after your feet is one of those important things. The other thing is the socks and the insoles that you use as well can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So providing like a good solid support base does tend to prevent that foot from spreading and sliding and rubbing. I bought myself a set of the Super Feet Trailblazers. To be honest, they're about 40 quid, which is ludicrous for a set of insoles. But actually, having worn them, they're fantastic. So I think insoles is where you're going to start. Next is socks. How thick are they? If you're wearing like crazy thick socks, you don't really need to these days, particularly not for EDC or Tanzania. I tend to only wear a mid-weight sock with a good boot, and that tends to be fine for me.
Yeah.
The other thing I think with recommendations, maybe like La Sportiva, I know are really good technical boots, but they're very narrow. They tend to be, like most things Italian, sort of stylish and narrow. I think try Scarpa, they're really good. There are other, I think Millet do boots as well and stuff like that. I use Maindels, but I actually think they're quite narrow, to be fair.
They are narrow because it's a really good point because all these wonderful shoes, sometimes they are a bit tight, aren't they? And I think it might be worth going to a specialist. So if you can get to a store, and I know it's challenging at the moment because of because of our good friend COVID, but if you can get someone, get measured, and you can try some in store and see if you can get a nice fit. Like Sinead's mentioned there. Hey Sinead, great to see you on as always, mate. Was it called Salawa? I always struggle with pronunciation of that one. I've seen them and they look really nice jackets. It's very similar to the Maindel Boutons. I know they've got one that looks very similar.
Yeah.
And, but okay, if they're wider, great. I've not used them myself, but yeah, maybe worth a shout. But I would say go and see a specialist.
Yeah.
If you're going to invest a couple of £100 in some boots, get them fitted properly.
One other thing as well that's just popped into my mind. Someone might have used them, but there's a brand called I think they're called Forge Technica or Technica Forge, where what you do is you go into a store and they heat mold the boot around you. I believe it's skiing technology, where you put your feet in and they heat mold it so it's an exact fit. Yeah, so I think, I think if you're having real trouble, maybe look into that. I've not seen anyone use them, and I don't know anyone that's used them, but I'm imagining they're going to be pretty good. My only concern with it is obviously if you go in there and you just have your feet measured, on a normal day, and we all know that when you hike and in hot weather and stuff, your feet might swell. So does that change the fit slightly? But that might be that. Hopefully that's been a little bit insightful for you anyway.
It's a good question because it must be a pain, especially with a nail lock.
Yeah,
it must be a problem. I think I just read Julie's comment there that she just laughed out loud at the toe when we talked about toenails. Yes, it's a nice thing to talk about on a lunchtime on a Tuesday,
Yeah, I think I said I lost my toenail when it wasn't trekking though. It was when we were doing the office move and I dropped something, a bit of a table on my foot.
What bottles we have behind me, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of them. Yeah, a box of water bottles.
Just going through the email questions again, just to get them, because we had quite a few this morning. How much clothing should I wear at night on the EBC trek? How cold will it get? So really good question, Sophie. I mean, Dave touched on it sort of, about 10 minutes ago when he talked about, what to wear, whilst using a sleeping bag and depending on how cold it is. Because it is dependent on you. I know some people that just sleep in their underwear because, like Dave, they run hot, don't really need too much, especially the first few days on the EBC trip, until you get above 4,000 meters. And then, if you feel cold, then put something on. And I think you'll find your own sort of comfort zone, if you like. Because it's not something that we say, right, do this, do that. I think you've got to find it out for yourself. And really find what works for you, and when you're on there, you'll feel okay. I'm a bit cold. I'll put something else on.
Yeah,
you'll know what's right for you. 100%. I mean, I've gone from sleeping in just my pants, my underwear, going all the way to wearing my down jacket to bed in Gorakshep because it was minus 25. But that was during winter. So when you're thinking about it, do think about what time of year you're going. Whether it's say February or March. Or if it's sort of November, the latter part of the season in the year, then you're going to be colder than the other months. So yeah, it's worth thinking. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure when you're booked into there, but regarding your month that you're going, definitely worth taking into account. But yeah, you'll work that out. In terms of how cold will it get, again, time of year can change. Sometimes it can go down, as I mentioned, minus 25. Sometimes it could be 10 degrees. During the day, sometimes you get 20 degrees and it's shorts and t-shirt weather, especially around sort of April, May, or September, October, if you're trekking to EBC. Yeah. But then in winter, you could be trekking during the day in minus 15. So, it is very varied. But as Dave always says, plan for 4 seasons, or pack for 4 seasons, and you won't go far wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. And remember, don't overthink it. Like Andy says, if you're too cold in your sleeping bag, put your jacket on. Yeah. There's no rules to this. As long as we're all warm, and that's all that matters. Okay, another boots question. Dave raves about the Maindel Bhutan. I do rave about it. It's a brilliant boot. It's changed my life for EBC. But could he use the tonal or island GTX boot? Prefer a softer boot than a leather design, as always finds them too stiff. Fair comment. Can we discuss the do's and don'ts for feet warmth? Also seen a lot of talk of doubling up socks and stuff. Yeah, feet warmth seems to be a particular one. I mean, honestly, I've never really felt like my feet were freezing when I've been in the Maindel Bhutans and a set of socks and stuff like that. What I would say is, if you want to use like a softer boot, like I know the Maindel's Gore-Tex, but when I think of Gore-Tex, I always think of like the synthetic material, the lighter weight stuff, Totally fine for EBC and Kilimanjaro and stuff like that. The reason why I ended up with the leather boots was I could never find one that was like giving me. I mean, I'm nearly 40. The knee's gone a bit, and I know that's not too old, but there's a lot of mileage in that time. And, exactly. So yeah, the Maindel Bhutans I think give me the best support. Combined with the Trailblazer insoles, I think they're perfect. However, I have used North Face Hedgehogs. I had a pair of last Sportivas that I used. That was a mistake. Broke them in on the Glencoe Challenge. I've used what are they, Hoka Ones. They're really mega lightweight, super cushioned, which I tried out and stuff like that. So yeah, I find a pair that works for you. Make sure the fit is right. The fit has to be right. If the fit's wrong, everything else about the boots will be wrong as well. So if you go to Cotswold or any other of those places, they can do a fit for you and tell you exactly what boot to start with. So, and then you can go from there when you try different boots, but at least you know what size you need to be looking at. And also doubling up of socks, I wouldn't recommend it. I think it might cause your feet to sweat. If your feet sweat, they're going to slip and rub and get blisters. So I think, rather than wearing 2 pairs of socks, I'd rather wear 1 pair of socks that does the job of 2. And they are out there, so definitely have a look at them. But I don't recommend 2 pairs of socks. I mean, maybe around the lodge and stuff like that if your feet are freezing. But day to day, I would say no. One good pair of like merino wool socks or bamboo socks or something like that would be perfect.
Yeah, nice, Dave. Whilst on the double socks thing, it is something I've done before, and David's right. Your feet do overheat. It does stop you from getting blisters, which is a bonus because instead of rubbing against the boot, you're rubbing against the 2 socks. Are kind of rubbing against each other, so it can work. But again, it comes down to the individual. If you get cold feet, could work for you. If you're like Dave and you run hot, might not work for you. Again, it's worth of maybe trying it out. But one question we'll answer, because I feel like we're maybe kindred spirits here. Sital, you mentioned your nose is like a
Knew you were going to answer that. Knew you were going to answer that. I knew it. As soon as I saw it, I was like,
I know. Yeah, any advice for constant runny noses on the treks? It's so annoying. Yeah, it is. So yeah, I'm very similar to that. I broke my nose playing football when I was a teenager, and I've never had it reset. So and over the years I've had some issues, and I'm waiting for an operation on it. But constant runny nose. It's like always having a cold, and it's mad because people are like, "Oh, have you got a cold?" And I'm like, "No, it's my nose." People sort of always ask about me, and on a trip, it can become quite annoying because you need to carry tissues or handkerchief, whatever you use. Sometimes it is to do with allergies, I've noticed. So definitely keep up to date. If you're taking any antihistamines, it can limit any allergies with dust, because especially on Everest Base Camp and Kili, and thinking back to sort of Toubkal. I mean, I'm talking about any trek now, where there's a lot of dust and you're on the trail. It can irritate your nose and it will run more. So definitely, keep up to date with antihistamines and take some. I do when I'm on a trip, just to minimize the flow. But other than that, I know it sounds dodgy, but all you can do sometimes is kind of deal with it and think, okay, just as long as you got tissue with you, or something to get rid of it, because it is annoying. For everyone's different. For me, it's because I've got some polyps which I'm getting removed. Not to go into too much detail, but and that's the cause of it. Some people it's allergies. So it depends. I think Lee Stevenson mentions she has a similar thing. So it can be a bit of a pain. I know your pain, trust me. It's and so does Dave, because he's like, Andy, haven't you got that like 25-year-old tissue that you always use? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, exactly. I've said to Andy, he's had a sniffle ever since I've known him. I've never known him not have a sniffle or a runny nose or anything like that. So in the cold on a mountain, you just got to try not to walk behind him. It's like, he's slipping everywhere. But no, I have seen other people suffer with it. I know it's a nightmare. I think maybe keeping your chest and face warm might make a difference. But having said that, you might just end up with a soaking wet buff. I don't know. I wish you all the best with it. Let's have a quick look. What other questions have we got? Priscilla, what sort of boots and trousers would you buy? If we're talking about stuff to keep me warm, again, I'll bring more than one type on a trek with me. So you're going to need more than one pair of trousers anyway. And I recommend if you're going to bring 2 or 3 pairs, normally I have 3 pairs. So 2 pairs of sort of lightweight trekking trousers and then like a warmer pair. The ones I like using at the moment are the Montane Terra, stretch material, really comfortable, really lightweight though, which is perfect for me because they don't really, they won't keep you warm if it's cold, they just won't. But in terms of like trekking during the day and stuff, they're perfect.
Yeah, they're brilliant. I used them about 2 or 3 weeks ago actually on Cadair Idris, and the Terra pants, and they're brilliant pants. I've used them on Killy as well. They're really, obviously not the thickest, so if it's cold, maybe you're looking at maybe an underlayer.
Yeah.
But they're definitely good trousers. Yeah. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, that's all right. And then for instance, I used the Montane Terra pants all the way up to sort of Kilimanjaro summit night, which is what I'll keep going back to because it was the coldest I've ever been on a trip. And then on there, I used them. I'll have to find out the make, but they were Rab, and they were winter lined Rab technical pants basically. So they were like, they had a fleece lining in them and stuff like that, and a shell material. They're really warm, really comfortable. They've got vents down the sides as well, so on the way down when it got hot I could open the vent and let some heat out. So they're really good for that. So generally speaking, I'll bring sort of a couple of pairs. Preparing for all 4 seasons again, I'll also have like a pair of waterproof pull-on trousers, which I actually forgot to take with me to Kilimanjaro. And do you remember the pair I got given Anne from the guide? Very well. They fitted you really well. Oh, they fitted me lovely. Yeah, they fitted me lovely. As long as I didn't bend over or sneeze, they stayed on. But like, yeah, the guide borrowed some, and the guide, Yessi, who is like the fittest guy I know, marathon runner. Probably I'm like 3 times his size and weight. So yeah, when he gave me these waterproof trousers, I couldn't bend over to pick anything up for until I got down. That was a nightmare. Yeah, so important advice there is to make sure that they do fit. Yeah. And with mobility as well, make sure you can bend down and move about a bit. But nice, Dave. A couple of questions. I think Ken O'Leary's asked about what are your gut feelings of early next year? I think obviously we're talking about the trips. We kind of feel like we always talk about this on the live because it's important, and it's next year we're working towards running our trips. We're so excited to be running them. I got to be honest, because this year's been mad. Not been able to run any trips since March, which has been it's been a very different year. But we're planning to right this second to go ahead. I know we've had some conversations this week, and literally over the last couple of days with all of our suppliers. Dave, I know you've been speaking to them, trying to get, working towards like what it's looking like and plans, in terms of social distancing, all the usual stuff that we have to think about now. And from us to you, we're fingers crossed that the spring will go ahead, and we can start running these trips again. So other than that, we can't really provide any more info. I'd love to, but we're ready. As soon as our trips can go ahead, then we'll be like, right, let's get out there. And I know a lot of people booking flights and looking at visas and injections and just getting that excited feeling, when before a trip. And we know what that's like, because the build up to a trip is almost, I mean, from experience, is almost as important as the trip because you're getting ready for it and you're getting psyched up. So your head's in the right place. But so regarding our abroad trips, we're all good to go. Regarding training weekends, again, good to go. We're really excited. I can't wait to get out and meet our EverTrekkers and do some trekking. We got the first one in January, I believe. January. Diane's actually asked about it. Oh, there we go. Diane, how you doing? Always great to see you on the live. Can't wait to see you in January and February. We're just to do some trekking, it's been a while, Dave, isn't it? Yes, but it's ridiculous now. I think life is beginning to turn back to normal, but it's so up and down. You get news of a vaccine, things start to relax, things start to move up, and you're really hopeful that that's going to stick. And then it locks down again. So I don't think I don't know when I'll be able to say anything with 100% certainty ever again. But like Andy said, we're proceeding every day now like these trips are going to happen. We're preparing for them to happen. I'm currently in the process. I've been doing it today and this morning, speaking to all of our team in all the countries that we go to, gathering information on what it's like, what measures we're going to be using, because we want to stick to the highest standard possible to make sure that every one of you, is particularly safe. We know that there are conflicting views on what to do and what not to do. We're going to take an approach of sort of caution. Like anything, it's another part of our risk management system. We want to get you out there, get you to wherever you want to be, EBC, Summit of Killy, Machu Picchu, and get you back healthy. And then you're free to do whatever you want. But yeah, we'll be taking measures to make sure that everyone is sort of safe and healthy and remains that way on all of our trips. Training weekend, like Andy said, it's the same boat as Nepal, really. I mean, as long as the powers that be say go, then we say go. Like, trust me, I want to get out there. It is doing my nutting. Not being able to go out and meet people.
Dave, I know it's mad, isn't it? You've had a COVID test this week, right?
Yes, yeah, had a COVID test this week. Yeah, that was good.
He is negative.
Yeah, came back negative. Yeah, so I am now COVID negative. Yeah, but had to have a test. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's part and parcel of daily life now. I think over the course of the next few years, most people will experience some form of like, interaction with it. I mean, I've been lucky, touch wood. No one I know has really suffered with it or anything like that. I'm sure a lot of people have, had a much harder time than me. But yeah, COVID test, yeah, interesting. Wasn't up the nose, which I was glad about, to be honest. I've seen those ones go up the nose, and that didn't happen to me, so I was really pleased.
Yeah, they struggle with those, I got to be honest, finding a way up. But yeah, just a couple of questions around training weekend. Helen, can you join the training weekend if you're not booked on a trip? Yeah, that's fine. We don't say no. We're not no people. We're at the end of the day, if you book with someone else, or that's fine. Mainly for EverTrekkers, just to be open and transparent with you. So most people will be booked onto a trip, but we're open, inclusive. So yeah, if anyone else wants to come with us, great stuff. Just book yourself in. If Lauren is on the live, just put the link into the training weekend. Jerome, I know you asked about cost. I believe it's £295 for the weekend. For the 2-day sort of trip. We say 2 days, just 2 nights. We sort of meet on the Friday afternoon, late afternoon, sort of catch up. Wait till everyone's arrived, because generally people are arriving from all over the UK. They are in the Brecon Beacons, which is pretty much our sort of backyard, if you like. We've got some skills weekends in other parts of Scotland and Snowdonia, but in terms of the high altitude stuff, which is myself and Dave, and the training weekends we've run before over the last 4 years, then the training weekends are the ones we run in Brecon Beacons. And they're great weekend, and essentially we don't teach you anything that you probably don't already know, but we also show you about how EverTrek works. Obviously you get to catch up with us, and it's like imagine this Q&A like this, but all weekend.
It's exhausting. No, yeah, it's great. It's great fun, to be honest. We love the training weekends. I mean, you'll also meet some of the the wider EverTrek community. So quite often you'll meet John, the Great Bald Yeti. He comes, and basically he lives in Brecon and spends his whole life there. So we sort of hire him as like a guide, basically. So he does a little trial run. Then also my old man as well, isn't it? He seems to.
Doug always comes along, doesn't he? He's done EBC twice. He's a very knowledgeable guy.
1.5 times.
1.5. Well, 1.95.
1.9 times. Yeah, we'll give him that. Yeah, he was quite close.
He knows his stuff about anything to do with Everest Base Camp. So yeah, he's very knowledgeable now.
Yeah.
What Yeti name would we call Doug?
He's the Sloth Yeti.
He's the Sloth, isn't he? Yeah.
He's the Sloth, yeah, because he my dad comes along primarily to reassure people that are worried about walking too slowly, that there is no pace that is too slow. He broke his ankle recently, and then recovered from that, and he's running again now. Not too bad, not too shabby.
Yeah, he's very. And how old your dad? 63, 64?
Oh yeah, this comes up quite a lot, doesn't it? 62, 63. I'm gonna go 63.
Doug's going to tell me off now. He's like, how could you call me 64?
Yeah, no, he's definitely 60. Well, John thought he was 70.
Okay.
Yeah. Mind you, that's no, but we trekked with a gentleman, Dave, last April, 72, smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. I just saw Jerome's comment there saying he was, he'd really love to do Aconcagua, but didn't know if he'd be able to. Jerome, mate, it's all up here, my friend. If you're out and you're moving and you feel good and you do EBC and you've done Killy, why not? Why not do Aconcagua? I think you don't lose anything, from trying. You'll get out there, have an awesome time. I'm pretty certain you'll make it to the summit. And if you don't, so what? You spend an awesome time trekking in Argentina, going up Aconcagua, all that awesome stuff. Yeah, most successful mountaineers don't start until they're around 40. Like most Everest summits are like people in their 40s.
Great. I've got some more questions, guys. I know who is it? I think it's Julie Dallow mentioned around. You put the info about charity trips on the website yet? So yeah, last week we had Brecon Mountain Rescue here. So yeah, with regards to our trips, I mean it was basically around having a charity pack. So that link is, if you could put the link in the live stream here, just you can actually download the charity ultimate charity guide. So it basically sort of a few things about how to fundraise, and essentially then how to fundraise for your trip. Now we don't do any treks that are just for. Your mum has just come in, Dave, just to remind you of your dad's birthday, by the way. 63, next birthday.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I just saw that here. But yeah, with regards to with the charity side, we don't do charity treks, as in you can raise money for any trip that you go on, because that's kind of the way we do it. So they're not specifically for charity, Julie, but you can choose a charity of your own, or you can choose to fundraise for our chosen charity, which is UK's, which is Brecon Mountain Rescue. But obviously you can fundraise for anyone.
Yeah.
But I hope the guide comes in handy. So definitely get that. Take a look at that guide, because Fee, our awesome Bimblin Yeti, although she is a charity Yeti really, she's put some really good info there on how to maximize your fundraising. To raise money for your chosen charity.
Yeah, he knows that.
Right, Dave. Yeah, right. We've got a couple more questions we'll smash through. I know we've been going 50 minutes already. What are we going through here? Just have a little look.
Tracy Parker Moisey, how important the waterproof trousers? Good question.
Yeah.
I don't go on any trek without them, except when I forget. But yeah, every single trek, they wrap up small. I've got a pair of Berghaus Gore-Tex ones, the over trousers. So I don't bother. Like I know makes like Paramo.
Yeah.
Do really, really good waterproof trousers that are just that trousers that you put on. You can wear them, trekking them, and they're waterproof. I find that I get too hot in them. So what I'll tend to do is get a lightweight pair of over trousers, throw them on when you need to. I take them on every trip because I think all bar one EBC trip, I've encountered some rain at some point, whether that usually in the lower altitude. So on the first 2 days or the last 2 days, you might encounter some. And on Kilimanjaro, because it's its own sort of microclimate, particularly in the early half of the year, you'll get like little rain showers throughout the day. Pretty much most days, and one day we had a little rain shower.
Yeah, you get a little bit of rain, and yeah, it's good to be prepared. And again, having the 4 seasons worth there just to protect you if you did. I mean, you had a poncho as well, right? Just to sort of chuck on.
Yeah. Well, you could get like really good ponchos. Like I had like a reusable plastic one. It cost me like £3.
Yeah.
But you can actually get really good ones. You can pay about 40, 50 quid and they last, it's just like having a big giant Gore-Tex jacket over you. And yeah, they are really good. It just takes the edge off on Kilimanjaro, I found I used the poncho. I haven't used it on EBC. I tend just to use my jacket and waterproof trousers if it rains on EBC. But on Kili I did because it would be so sort of off and on. So yeah, handy just to throw it on.
Nice. Sorry, Fee's put a little email there if anyone's got any charity questions.
Fee, put in your personal email address.
Nice. No, but there's a few questions. I know people have mentioned Aconcagua as well, and I know Diane is looking to potentially go. Yeah, it is. It's always worth thinking that because Diane and I know other people who are looking at it. It is a challenge. Aconcagua. It is almost 7,000 meters. But it is again. It's not technical. It's just the physical stuff. I've been. We're all sort of friends on social media as well, and I know a lot of you are really into your fitness side of it, and you're more than capable of doing that. But obviously, it's got to be right with you guys, and and it's if you want to come with us, we'd love to have you. Whether that be in a few years' time after doing EBC in Kili. I mean, I suppose it's worth thinking as well that Kili is 5,895 meters, which is high. Yeah. If you could do that. You're talking about another 1,000 meters then for Aconcagua. So yeah, you got 5/6 of the way there.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more, but yeah, just as long as you've got it right in your head, guys, and you want to come with us, we'd love to have you.
I liked Helen's comment. She said she'll take a look at the training weekends, but in her error, she booked Killy with another company
Do that.
before discovering us. That's fine. I'm sure they'll be great.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll have an awesome time. One thing we always say to everybody that's part of our community is, put our number in your mobile. If you need any help when you're there and you're not finding it anywhere else, then give us a call and we'll be happy to help you. We've done that for people before, so yeah, all good. But no, have an awesome time at Killy. But yeah, come on a training weekend and then go to Everest Base Camp or Island Peak or something. We'll take you on an awesome trip.
Yeah, exactly. It's all good. Talking about trips, someone's asked, I think it was Priscilla. I know you talked about boots and trousers, but also how popular is EBC via Gokyo Valley? You go in November next year. Worried you'll be the only one? Yeah, very rare do we get people on their own. Sometimes, in total transparency, because our dates are available, and if only yourself books onto a date, because we still run trips for one person, so we guarantee as long as anyone's booked in, we'll guarantee to run the date. And that could be nice, but it is also nice to trek with people. So yeah, we can we'll double check your date, Priscilla, and let you know. But generally, with Gokyo Valley, you're looking at anything between 6 to 8 people in your group.
Yeah.
And with a classic route, you're talking a few more than that. Sort of 12 people on average, I'd say, on an Everest Base Camp trip. So yeah, if you've got any sort of concerns around that, drop us a little email, info@evertrek.co.uk, and we can sort of work out and check who's on your date. And you've got till November next year as well, and especially, once we start running trips in the spring, and a bit more confidence is there. I'm sure you'll get more people book in as well if there's not many. That generally happens as we creep towards the season. But at the moment we've sold out, I think, 75 of our trip dates so far over the next 2 years. So lots of our trips are becoming really popular now. So yeah, look forward to having you with us.
Yeah. What date did you book onto, and I can't see it.
She hasn't put on here. It's just said November next year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'll check. Yeah.
Yeah, I could have done a little check for you, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. I mean, it's part of the reason. I mean, it's kind of a swing and roundabout thing, but we would rather send one person on their own with a guide and the porter than cancel the trip of one person because no one else booked on. Mm-hmm. So it's about managing that. But I think you're never really on your own. That as soon as you're out in the mountains and stuff, you'll always meet other people, other trekkers and stuff. You've got the guides and things to talk to. So you won't feel lonely when you're there. But very rarely do we send one person on their own. If anything, we've got the opposite problem here. Is trying to get we've got too many people.
Well, especially with we've opened up a lot of new dates with our trips now, just because of people moving, because we've had to reschedule 2 seasons we haven't done before. But it's we've managed it, and we've made sure that everyone's on a trip, and it's not going to impact their trip. So yeah, we just can't wait to run them now. Tony Oakley has asked, booked EBC November 22. You have an Osprey 26-litre day sack. Is this going to be sufficient for your day-to-day use? Yes, Tony, that's about right. We always say anything between sort of that size, anything up to say 40 litres, 45 litres. We know people like to use smaller ones, big ones, whatever works with you. But as long as you've got enough space for your water, your snacks, maybe your jacket to throw on if it gets cold, your gloves, some snacks, stuff like that. 26 litres, and looking at the Osprey 26 litres, I know they're pretty good bags. They got a lot of areas you can dump stuff. So yeah, that sounds fine to me, Tony. Go for it.
If it's the Stratos as well, which I think is 26 litres, I've got one and I used it on Killy. Totally fine. Okay. Yeah, nice. Totally fine. Personally, I think, Andy tends to run a bigger bag than me, don't you? You tend to have like a 30 to 40 litre type bag. I tend to be like 25 to 35.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nice size bag. And definitely, we've got, again, some content out there. I know we've done a live all around day packs. So have a look at previous lives, or if it's worth it, going onto our YouTube channel. Just check the because we've done a whole live just on bags. Tony, if you're looking for inspiration for other bags, or drop it in the High Altitude EverTrekkers group. If you ask what bag, excuse me, what bag people use for trips, I'm sure you get heaps of recommendations, but I'm sure that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just going through, let's have a little look. Just going through here, I think Diane talked about, sorry, Diane, I think we've answered this when you asked about the training weekend going ahead.
Yeah.
Someone said they're tempting to do EBC and Island Peak. I think that was Lee. Lee Stevenson's on here. And you asked about you're looking to book EBC, but tempted to include Island Peak. How much more physical is it to do them together? Yeah, I'd say if you do an Island Peak or the ultimate Island Peak route via Gokyo Valley, it's probably one of the hardest routes we do. So we want to be upfront with that. It's compared to just doing Everest Base Camp, it is more difficult.
Yeah.
You're going over 2 high passes, Chola Pass, which is from Gokyo Valley over to the Khumbu Valley, and then you've got Kongmela, which is the highest one, and then you go in over 6,000 meters with Island Peak. So yeah, it's challenging, but hey, look, we've had people who've done it off the bat before, who haven't been to altitude before, and they succeeded. So yeah, if you want to do it, we're more than happy to have a chat, and if you feel like you want to go for it and give it a go, obviously you're going to see Everest Base Camp as well, then we'd love to have you with us. I always think, it's difficult because we don't want to sort of pigeonhole people and say, yeah, okay, you can do it. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Because our personal feelings is that everyone can do what they want to do, essentially. It's down to you. And if you feel like you've got the almost the motivation to want to do those, then brilliant. Yeah. We'll chat about the how. How much training do you need to do? What equipment do you need? So yeah, we'd love to have you with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dave, what next questions? I know we're going an hour now, but
I think so, yeah. Beverly Sage, any update on the medals for your treks? The Lozatron 5000 is on that one big time. Essentially, it's a supply issue. As soon as we get them and the certificates and things like that, we're going to get them out again. What happened was we started them one season, and then COVID and interruptions and stuff like that. So yeah, trying to get everybody's backdated and sent out. Don't worry, we haven't forgot about you. We will definitely get them up and running because they are awesome. But yeah, we'll get those done. So having a quick look now, I think, well, we might almost be there now.
Yeah, actually going through it, I think we've covered a lot. I mean, yeah, it's been great. I know we started off talking about winter, different things. I know we covered down jackets, sleeping bags, and I think obviously heaps of questions around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially, let us know how you're getting on. It's time of year now where we love getting out because it's winter conditions. It's quieter, and yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, getting out and a bit of snow in the mountains. I think maybe this Friday there might be some snow in Brecon Beacons. I should be quiet really, so it's quiet. But if anyone's out in the Brecon Beacons this week, great. I know England's coming out of lockdown, so maybe it'd be a few of you out and about in England as well. So stay safe and enjoy it out there. Take the right gear as always. Get some good training in for when we're allowed to go trekking abroad. But yeah, anything else, Dave?
No, that's pretty much it for me. I'm happy. Like always, we start talking about one thing, but love a kit chat.
I always talk about
yeah, it always goes the same. Any questions or anything like that, when you don't want to wait till Tuesday, then just drop us a message and we'll we'll have a chat about it and sort that out. But no, other than that, yeah, take care, stay warm, and yeah, we'll see you soon.
Lovely. Mick saying he's going tonight. Mick, send us some pictures, Mick. We love to see it. But yeah, you guys take care, and yeah, we'll catch you next Tuesday. And yeah, all the best.
Nice one. All the best, guys. Bye.